Hi guys, welcome back. It's LSP. It's currently the 3rd of May 2021. Welcome back everybody. I've not had a chance to do any videos for the last sort of week. It's Orthodox Easter, so I was focused on that. Christos Anesti, Christos Anviat, Christos Voskresi to Eastern Orthodox brothers and sisters that are in the community. So obviously we've had a pretty nice move on CHSB, right? And it was expected. We knew this was going to happen. It was inevitable. We've all been waiting for it, and it's something that now that it's happened, we can kind of assess the way price has been going up on CHSB and kind of deduce whether or not, we are going to continue when it breaks the highs. And you notice I said when, because I absolutely believe it's going there. Or whether we're going to pull in a little bit and we can kind of take it from there. Obviously, Bitcoin as well. We've had some really nice movement on Bitcoin. It came all the way down here, and I was saying if it continues going lower, then we can expect 40,000 to 42,000. That's not been the case. You can see that price has had a nice reversal, and since then it's stabilized up in this area. This was the key area up here. I'm not going to go into Bitcoin too much. It's pretty obvious at this point. There's an imbalance over here, okay, and this is the area on the 4-hour chart that I made a note of, and you can see price came up there, and this is important. If you want to do a study on Bitcoin, do this. Notice the way it came down and hit this liquidity pool, moved away, and then drove lower to take out this low, okay, and then it popped there. Yeah, this is important. This is the way that price hit this liquidity pool and rejected or reversed this area down here is important. Yeah, because it tells us what this means. Yeah, up here. Like I said, this is a jigsaw puzzle, and when you see certain things, they're not patterns that if it's a certain way, then we can use that pattern to match with another pattern. That's not what it is. But because of the way the flow happened here and the way it accumulated and raided this low here on the second drop, then it popped. Okay, it tells us whether this is a real continuation and it's going to continue to rebalance. Yeah, and there's a lot of key areas on this chart. So for example, just to keep it really simple as best I can anyway, you've got an imbalance over here, okay? So the scales are tipped one way or another, right? The price comes all the way down here and it does this, okay? Then it pops and then it stabilizes, drops a little, leaves an imbalance here, okay, and ends up here while leaving another imbalance here within an area where once it gets through, it's going to be an order flow shift. Yeah. So because of all of that, this imbalance here has to be rebalanced. There's no question about it. Price is coming to, we'll call it 59,700, say. Yeah. Price is, quote me, price is coming here, period. That's it. It has to, because it's a rebalance of price based on everything that's happened up to this point, right? So when you see that, in this, in this particular scenario, being able to understand and read price, yeah, read the language of price, tells you it's not A plus B plus C plus D equals, E. That's not the way it is. It's not that simple. It's being able to navigate your way through the reading of the language of price. And when you know how to, effectively, when you know the alphabet of price delivery, and you know the language of price delivery, then you can read the price and say, okay, well, now that I've read the price, just like I'm reading a book, it tells me that price has to come up here, say, for example. Yeah. So going forward, in terms of upside, right? Once it stabilizes where it is now, okay. Once it stabilizes where it is now, there's a small area up here. And what I'm going to do, guys, just to kind of clean the chart up, I'll just take this off. I'm going to leave this because it's a liquidity pool. That's fine. There's still a little bit of liquidity left here. And I like to leave things on the chart so we're aware in terms of reading future price, where we came from, how much is left, because then I can work out the distribution of buy and sell, or the accumulation of buy and sell on the upside or downside. And this is why I leave these areas. But I'm going to make a note of this area here, all right, which is a key area. It needs to be a little bit bigger than that. This is a key area up here as well. We'll make it a sort of a darky. What's that? It's not even a colour. That's not a color either. What's wrong with these colors, man? Ah, it's the opacity. Let's make it really strong. There we go. A little bit too strong. Sorry, guys. We still need to be able to see the candles. There we go. Yeah, that's fine. So this is a key area. Yeah. I expect some sensitivity here. If it gets through this, we're going for, you know, higher highs again. Yeah, we're going to take this and we're just going to continue to the upside. All right. So that's Bitcoin. So let's get back over to, oh, I tell you what, let's do Ether very, very quickly. Ether's going up. Done. Let's go back to CHSB. I'm sorry. I just had to throw that in there just as a bit of a laugh. But Ether, the easiest way to look at Ether is the monthly. Okay. We started to accelerate here. Okay, and then we've started another month very strongly. It didn't continue and explode. Nice, controlled, simple process. You see, it's just trying to get ahead. But if it stabilizes up here, just like I said in the chat yesterday, I believe it was 3,200. You know, is likely. 35 is the next target for me. I mean, we've been in this for such a long time now. My brother actually texted me this morning and said, "Is this thing ever going to stop?" And I'm like, I don't think it is, to be honest. You know, I think we have plenty more upside. Obviously, we're going to get pullbacks, so just be mindful of that. But when you're in this, even if you're in here, or even if you're in around about here, you know, and you're in profit, if you're in for the longer term and you're wanting to hold this for a year or so, maybe 2 years, 3 years, you know, expect some pullbacks, but you need to be able to, you know, to understand you're going to suffer a little bit of profit loss, you know, while your position is open. So, you know, you're making a couple of grand, it goes down to 1,500, it might go to, you know, 2,200, 2,300, dip back down to 1,800. This is just the normal ebb and flow of price delivery, and you just have to deal with it. You know, but if you're trading, obviously you can take your profits. But I expect Ether to continue to the upside. If anything, you know, dramatic changes, then I'll make everybody aware of that. So Swissborg. Now, I'm going to clean up the chart for a second. All of this liquidity here, I've been discussing this forever. Yeah, so it's gone through that now. We can get rid of it. Okay. The only thing that I want to make a note of before I continue with Swissborg analysis is all of the liquidity above. Like I said, this area here, I said that when it gets there, it's going to accelerate into this area, right? And I want to point out the things that I say and make sure that you guys remember that I said them, because this is important in terms of education and learning how to read price. Price accelerated into this area, okay? So be mindful of that and make a note of that, right, for future reference. Since then, we've been grinding nicely, okay? Got ahead a little bit there, okay? This is where everybody's like, why is it selling? Why doesn't it just keep going? Price can't just keep going. And trust me when I tell you, anybody that watches price like this, okay, and suffers this psychological tug, yeah, where it's like, oh, you know, you're up here and it's like, it's going to keep going, it's going to keep going. And then you get a dip like this and you're watching the 15-minute chart, okay, and you see this drop like this, okay, and start to think, why? It's not fair. I was up this much, whatever, blah, blah, blah. You need to really seriously take a step back, okay, and stop doing that to yourself, because you're going to drive yourself crazy, all right? We don't want price to explode to the upside. It's not healthy, yeah? It's the worst thing that can happen on Swissborg for us as Swissborg holders, CHSB holders, people who are, you know, wanting to invest. Yeah, I know there's traders in the room. I'm a trader, right? But just have a drink, guys. Sorry. You know, I'm a trader. I do this, you know, on a daily basis. But as investors, as people who are in CHSB because we believe, you know, it's going to continue to the upside for, you know, for quite some time, and there's benefits to, you know, to holding, we really don't want price to explode to the upside. Yeah, everything dries up, you get capitulation, and then price effectively just comes all the way back down, and we end up with a situation like this. Yeah, where price explodes and then it reverses. We don't want this. Yeah. Anybody listening to this video now that's holding CHSB, are you telling me that this is healthy? It's great when price is up here, yeah, and you're excited thinking, moon, moon, moon. But when it comes back down here, you're like, no, man, I had, now I don't. It's not fair. The world's ending. Why? Do you know what I mean? Again, this is not healthy for anybody, yeah, especially for CHSB. This, on the other hand, is very healthy. Okay, and we tracked price. I keep saying this. We tracked price all the way through all of this, guys. And I know for a fact, and I'm very happy about this. And this is obviously through DM that I've managed to get people in here, yeah, and here. And I know a few people, personal friends of mine, that have actually picked up CHSB around about 82 to 85, yeah, which makes me very, very happy, yeah, because they listened. And being able to share that information with other people, whether it's in the community, whether it's my own personal friends and family, people that I know, acquaintances, colleagues, and they can benefit from the information that I'm sharing, makes me very, very happy, because they're, one, invested, and two, they can see money in their account that's growing. They're getting a percentage back from the yield, and they generally feel better about themselves, in the future. Yeah, so that's fantastic. But it's a question of listening. I'm not saying you should listen to me because I know everything. It's certainly not what I'm saying at all. But what I want to be absolutely clear about, forgive me if I sound arrogant about this, when I'm tracking price and going through all of this, and people who are paying attention can see the ebb and flow and the liquidity pools that are being hit, moved away from, the sensitivity of price at certain areas that I'm pointing out, and we're getting the reversals, we're getting the turns. The information that I'm presenting speaks for itself. It's not me. The information speaks for itself. The analysis speaks for itself. Okay, and it gives you confidence that, what he's saying actually makes sense. Forget LSP for a second. What he's saying actually makes sense. So I have confidence that this is going to be traded to, which it did. And then obviously now going forward, in terms of that confidence, in terms of that, yes, let's just say it as it is. We're going for these highs. We're going for them. Yeah. Why? Because we didn't get that insane explosive move to the upside. What we got was a nice pop, and then it stabilized. Look at this, guys. This is beautiful. It's amazing. It goes through. So it accelerates as it starts to pick up that liquidity right above all of those highs. And then it dips, look, and it rebalances. It dips again, it rebalances. It dips again, it rebalances. Okay, so it's accumulating. So the rebalance, accumulation, and then we get a nice steady move to the upside, and it stabilizes here. Then it pops again and goes. It really starts to go, because again, people are thinking, okay, it's broke that area of resistance, as some people like to call it. Yeah, we've got a lot of supply and demand traders. We've got a lot of people, right, who are watching this for a quick gain, and they're looking for a breakout, a classical breakout. So they pile in here, boom, off it goes, and then it starts to dip in a little bit, because again, people are taking small profits. Remember, if you jump into this and you plow 10 grand into this, and you make 10, 15, 20 cents, it's just a decent income. It's a decent, nice little trade. We get some profit taking. Liquidity dries up a little bit, comes down, and again, what do we see? Rebalance, accumulation, stabilizing, efficiently traded price. And now we're starting to grind up. It just takes out the high. And again, what do we see? Rebalance, accumulation. Yeah. So the slower and more methodical price grinds up, the better it is for us. So when it finally clears these highs, okay, if we get a small acceleration into this and we finally clear these highs, we may get a small little dip, and we'll get the same thing again. Rebalance, accumulation, whatever, and then we slowly start to grind to the upside. Now, if you remember, if you go all the way back to day one, when I first started posting these videos, and I was saying, I made a comment. I can't remember what video it was in, but I was saying, when price does this, that, blah, 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 and it clears these highs, we're probably looking at 170 to 180, and I made a specific call on 180, yeah, and then I was saying 180 to $2, okay? I've always believed CHSB is going to $2, absolutely 100%. Okay, anything after that we'll have to assess at the time, and it's down to fundamentals of the company and everything else. Liquidity obviously plays a factor, but it's a fundamental thing as well with the Swissborg company. But what's important is the 180 level and the $2 level. Okay, so as it's grinding up, if it accelerates into this area, if it accelerates into this area, okay, we may get a small little dip, and it will stabilize and maybe continue to grind up. If it grinds, just taps these little highs a little bit, then we're going to get something like what Ether is doing, where we take out these highs, okay, no real explosive move, and then it just kind of stabilizes. Or we get some news through the AMA and people just pile into this and it just rips to the upside and does something really stupid, which, to be honest, I'm hoping that doesn't happen. I really hope that doesn't happen. Yeah, I don't want to see that because it's very unhealthy. Okay, for CHSB, because what happens is inevitably people will just take profits, and then we're going to end up back down to around about these levels again. But what's really important to know and to really emphasize, now that we've cleared all of this, we're in an area where we're going to stabilize in a new range. Yeah, the key area of 125 to 130. We've cleared it. Now we're in the 140s to 145 level. Beautiful. That's what we want to see. Yeah, we said this before. I mentioned it. Danzo mentioned it. Colin mentioned it. Mike mentioned it. Somebody else mentioned it as well. I can't remember his name. But there's a few people that mentioned it, in the community. These levels, very, very important. Yeah, and now that we've traded to them, we can expect more upside. And that's it, guys. I mean, that's pretty much the analysis for CHSB. In terms of downside going forward, I mean, it's going to require, because it's going up so nicely and so efficiently, it's going to require something pretty insane for price to drop dramatically anywhere near these levels. I don't think we're seeing these levels ever again. I think it's going to go. We stabilized here for a very long time. We came all the way back down to do a lot of accumulation on the first initial stabilizing. Yeah. This is the second stabilizing now. So if we do go all the way back up here and we drop, we're in a new band, yeah, between, I'd say, 120 and 130. So we're up now. So in terms of downside, I'm not expecting any downside, obviously. But if something is released or something happens, people don't like, whatever the case may be, and it starts to tank, it's going to require something very, very, very dramatic for price to go down. Yeah. So just expecting more upside. Everything's looking great for Swissborg. And I'll just quickly make a note about the 128. Okay. The 128 level was a key number. Yeah. I'll just say it like this and I'll kind of just wink. Yeah. Which you can't see me doing. It wasn't a mistake. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't a guess. Okay. I said it obviously way, way, way before it happened. And I said before the end of the month, yeah. Now, obviously, I have to keep it on an even keel because I just end up sounding super, super cocky. And let's just be frank, I end up sounding like an arsehole, if I carry on like that. So I just kind of put it out there. I said before the end of the month. I mentioned it a few times, and then obviously it happened. Yeah. So it wasn't a mistake, and it wasn't an accident. Yeah. If you can read price the way that I read price, then you can pick these levels because you can see them way before they happen, right? And I'll just emphasize, it doesn't mean you can make money with that because you, the trader, are obviously responsible, and if you make a mistake or your psychology is all over the place, you're going to lose money regardless of, whatever happens. Even if somebody gives you, the almanac from Back to the Future with all the, the stats in there for the sporting events, you're still going to lose money. Yeah. So, with all of that said, I'm just looking at the list. I mean, obviously, Utrust. I've got some people in down here. Yeah, we grabbed it at 37 ourselves. Beautiful move. Weekly on this is the most important chart. This is what you want to focus on. Forget this stupid move here. Let me just do this. This is what you want to focus on. This really nice explosive move to the upside. Okay, and it's complete reversal this now. As always, guys, we're seeing the same thing, right? Fractal nature of price. Comes up, comes back, accumulates. Explodes, takes out the high, comes back, accumulates in the liquidity pool, right? Reverses, okay. We've got an area here now that if price comes down, we're going to stabilize here. So the bracket for stabilization is 55 to 70 now, okay? So we can expect more upside on Utrust. May take some time, whatever, but Utrust is, is looking very good. And I'll leave you with the weekly chart of CHSB. Okay. This is the key chart now going forward. This is not getting reversed, and this candle is going to take out these highs. Period. Done. Quote me. And with all of that said, guys, I wish everybody an awesome week. I hope people had an amazing Orthodox Easter for those of you part of the Eastern Orthodox Church. And I will catch up with you guys in the chat. Smart Talk on Thursday as usual. Take care, everybody, and I'll speak to you soon.